Hey everyone, how you doing? My name's Adam Lavell and welcome to another edit and chat. This is an image that I was commissioned to do by the awesome Adril. She came up with the idea of doing an image to portray her proudness of Pride Month. So I figured that this chat would be loosely based on Pride Month. So I've called it Pride and Prejudice. I thought it was quite a cool name for a topic to discuss. And the reason why I say loosely based, now me personally, I'm a straight heterosexual dude. I don't feel it would be appropriate for me to talk about issues that affect the LGBTQ community specifically, because I don't know. All I know is based on other people's experiences, not my own, and therefore I don't think it will be fair for me to talk about issues that are not specific to my own experiences, because these chats are my own opinions, my own thoughts, me kind of thinking out aloud whilst you guys watch my editing skills. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going to speak specifically about the LGBT community, but the month of June is known as the month of Pride, to celebrate the diversity of people. That's how I see it. Obviously, it's a lot more complex than that. It's people who have endured negative experiences because of their sexuality, because of their gender identity, and it's a month where there is a chance to unite people and give strength to those who have endured difficulties because of the negative issues. But what I can talk about is things that I've experienced which could be possibly be felt in some kind of way by members of the LGBTQ community. I mean, I feel like I know nothing about the issues specifically, but I do know about my own issues. I mean, who said that it's embracing diversity. Now, being a fellow of colour, person of colour, I mean, I've had to endure many prejudices because of the colour of my skin, because I'm Muslim, because I've had issues where people discriminate because of that. I've had people discriminate me because of my age. All not fun experiences, all very difficult experiences, and these are things that I have no control over. I have no control over the colour of my skin, the religion that I belong to, the age that I am. These are things that I have no control over, but people have, throughout my own personal experiences, have used it as a way to try and break me down. I mean, I grew up in a school, in an area, in fact. The whole town that I lived in was predominantly a white area, quite an affluent area, but we were by far no way affluent. My parents, they took 100% mortgage on a property that they couldn't afford. They're both working two jobs, and my dad was studying at the same time whilst working two jobs, to make ends meet. There was 6 of us kids, so it was, it wasn't a life of luxury by any means. But we lived in an affluent area because my parents felt that we would have a better chance with the education in the area. So that's the reason why we moved there, but it came with its challenges. The school that I went to, I was one of maybe 5 people of colour, and in my year it was me and one other person. So on a daily basis there was all kinds of abuse, from people in my own classrooms to people who went to the same school as me, or to people who I would see on a day-to-day basis, going to and from school. Even going to the park was an issue. I couldn't go to the park without there being any kind of racial abuse. If I'm not playing on the swings, I'll get surrounded by people and they'll throw stones or push me off the swings and just torment me until I ran off or something. But it didn't deter me, because the kind of person I was, I loved playing football, even if it was me on my jacks, I'm by myself, kicking a ball in the park, I'd do it. But often I would try to join in games, and sometimes I'd get lucky and get allowed to play with some other people that might have been playing in the park. And then going through school, it was difficult because whenever I had an issue, I never wanted to come home to my parents and tell them about it, even though they experienced it themselves. So they knew, they were also getting targeted. All of us did in my family. But going to teachers was a pointless exercise. Whenever I would report certain things to teachers, they would just say, "Oh, don't worry, it's just kids being kids." My parents came into school once to make a official complaint, and they were told that that we're taking it far too seriously and that it's not an issue and it's just kids being kids. And this is after me being beaten to a pulp, covered in blood, coming home covered in blood, black eye, my face completely messed up, but still it's kids being kids, right? That's the kind of attitude we had from our teachers and stuff. And as the years went by, I got bigger, I got older, I took up boxing, and I kind of learned how to, I wouldn't say learn how to fight my own battles, but I think I developed a sense of courage, because I was still getting beaten up, but I was kind of fighting back. People physically would think twice, or they wouldn't get too close, but they would still call names and whatever. Anyway, this isn't about oh, poor me, I had a tough upbringing, this isn't about that. But what I wanted to do is just share some of the prejudices and how it impacted my life, and how it affected certain things, when it came to sports, playing sports. Football, I was pretty decent. I wasn't amazing, but the teachers wouldn't give me tryouts. They would laugh at me, thinking, no, you don't play football. When it's basketball season, then we'll look you up, or when it's cricket, then we'll consider you. But I missed out on the first couple of years of playing for the school team. Even though lunchtime break times we'll be playing football, and I'll be pretty much as good as most of the players that played for the school team, and the teachers knew it, but I was never allowed to go to the tryouts, which sucked. Anyway, so then I was pretty academic, I was in all the top groups. I enjoyed the subjects I did, maths, English, science and stuff. So I was pretty much a nerd as well. And because if on some days, to avoid getting beaten up and stuff, I'd hide out in the library with the rest of the nerds. Which was okay, I got to get all my homework done before going home, which meant that in the evenings I got to go to the park and play football by myself. But anyway, but then when it came to finishing school, there was a huge change in the dynamic, because I felt that over the years I started to challenge those that kept judging me based on the colour of my skin, or the religion that I followed. I would speak back, I would talk back to the teachers, I would criticise them for not doing anything, and then I insisted that I'd be allowed to play football for the school, or at least be allowed to do the tryouts. The first tryouts I did was my third year into school, and straight away I was dismissed, even though I had a pretty decent tryout, and all the people I was playing with were absolutely certain that I was going to make the team. But then when they announced my name wasn't even on the sub list, on the second team, which absolutely made no sense to a lot of people. And then I protested on my lonesome, said this wasn't okay, this is nonsense. I stood outside the PE rooms, there was like the office where all the PE teachers would gather, and I stood up outside and I demanded to be put on the team. It got to a point where I was banging on their doors. They opened the door initially when I knocked on the door, and I told them that it's not fair, and then they just closed the door on me, and then I started banging on the door and said that this wasn't okay, and this caused a bit of commotion, and some of my friends started to gather around and felt that they needed to show some support. I wanted to give some support. So, the crowd gathered, and the teachers finally came out, and there was one teacher, female teacher, and she was nice. She was really, really nice, but she did netball and whatever, mainly like the sports designed for the females. So I never really had her as a teacher myself personally, but she did feel that it was unfair, and she then did speak to a couple of other teachers, and then they decided to give me another trial one, and it was quite a bizarre experience because it was lunchtime. They had me go out onto the pitch, and they made me do certain drills, and it was because it was lunchtime, the field was full of people, and they all started gathering around. The kids started gathering around, wondering what was going on. There was a few teachers out there as well, and I was doing these things that they were asking me to do, but they were chanting my name. They were, the kids were, and it was quite an unbelievable experience, and that was like just pushing me even more, to be best. I mean, I was cacking it, like, because I really didn't want to make any mistakes, and then they all laugh at me, and then the teachers would feel justified in not allowing me to make the team. And then there was a mini game that they set up, two teachers and a few students on one side, and me and maybe 3-4 other kids on the other. And we were playing against them, and one of the teachers was the head of the football team. So I had a point to prove. So I played against him, and there was a couple of times where I was able to steal the ball from him, which created wars of cheers and banter, amongst the crowds, which was amazing. And I was set up, to score a couple of goals, which I was able to do. I mean, it was a really, simple game. And at the end of it, when the ref called the whistle, the teacher, the head, just walked off the pitch, and the female teacher, the one who pushed to give me a chance, walked over and said, you made the team. It was a second team, it wasn't the first team, but it was a step in the right direction. 4th and 5th year at school, I made the first team, and 5th year I made team captain. And then when I got to 6th form, I was like player manager, captain and manager of the football team, rugby team, basketball team and cricket team. So I don't know, I think personally that experience alone, just having to endure all the hardships, all the battles, all the letdowns from people who were in position to make a difference, like the teachers, the parents, the people of position who could have done something that didn't, and it meant that I had to push myself into a situation that I had to be heard and I had to be given a fair try. There were many examples of that. I was made senior prefect as well as like 30 other students in our year. I was like senior prefect, and then I found out one of my teachers came up to me and started calling me HB, and I'm like, what's HB? And she goes, you're the new HB. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've no idea what you're talking about. And she goes, well, it's all hush hush, but all the teachers, they did a vote on who the new head boy should be, and you won by landslide. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, no way. And like, for me, HB was ultimate status, because what happens when you're a HB, when you're a head boy, is you have your name put on to this like board where there's like all the previous head boy and head girls from like the last 100 years. It went back from like, I would have been 1996, I would have been announced as HB, so like all the way down to like 1800s or something. Well, not 1800s, maybe like 1912 or something, I don't know, but there was like loads of names, and that meant that wall of names will be there for years to come. Now, even to this day, like 20 years on, that wall's still there. So it's a huge achievement. And this is a dude that was picked on, was beaten up, was denied opportunities from teachers to drawing groups and whatever, was put in a box as being like a nerd, that I don't know. So it was a huge achievement, and naturally I was super excited, but I was told by the teacher to keep it on the DL because they were going to make the official announcement later on. A couple of days later, in assembly, we had this like morning assembly, and the headmaster was there. He's not usually there for, but he was there, and he announced that that he was going to make the announcement on who the new head boy and who the new head girl was going to be. So I'm all excited. I'm all like getting ready to make that walk up onto the stage and accept my new badge that I'll be getting. And first they did the head girl, a girl called Lisa Fallowfield, announced the head boy, and they said another name. And I was like, what? And a few of the teachers I could see, because I was looking towards them, because I'm thinking, wait, I was told it was going to be me. And they started looking at each other and they looked a bit confused. But then everyone started clapping. The person who did win, Matthew something, I can't remember his surname, went up. And then they announced the deputy, thinking, well, maybe she got it wrong, maybe I'm going to be deputy head boy. But then I wasn't that either. There's a guy called Michael something. And I thought, wow, why? So straight after the assembly, I went over to the teacher who told me. She goes, I don't know. We all made a vote. It was all announced in the staff meeting, and it was all agreed. So then I went to my head of year and I said, I don't get it, because I heard there was a vote by the teachers, and there's maybe at least 60, 70 teachers of all the years, and they were all asked, and apparently they had to write the name and put it in to a ballot box, and it was all counted out. And according to 2 or 3 teachers, I got about 80% of the votes. Right, so then that means the next person, the person who actually got it, got maybe a share of 20% of the votes. So I didn't get it, and so I asked the head of year, and she said, that yes, there was a vote, and yes, that was the outcome, but the final decision came from the headmaster. So then I thought, well, let's go talk to the headmaster then. And she said, well, it's decision's been made, you can't change it, that's it, it is what it is. And I thought, no, that's not fair, because now you've got me all excited about being head boy, and I thought maybe I could make a difference. So then I went to go see the headmaster, and he had me waiting outside, and for maybe about 10-15 minutes, and then eventually I was allowed in, and then I asked him, and he was annoyed with me, the fact that I knew about the vote. Apparently I'm not supposed to know, but he's annoyed. So I asked him why, if those were the actual results, why was I not given the head boy status? He goes, well, it came down to academic record. I'm thinking, okay, that again doesn't make sense to me, because I was top of my class in all subjects, right? We had just done our mock exams, and I achieved for my GCSEs all A's, all subjects all A's, right? There's only one other person who got all A's, but in terms of percentages and courseworks and things, I was still ahead. But even that person wasn't even in the running for head boy. The person who was named as head boy was miles behind. And then he said, well, not necessarily just academic, it's activities. I said before, right, so I'm captain of the football team, the first football team, and also the basketball team, the cricket team, and the rugby team, right? And we've won medals, trophies, and we're doing okay. And so I had the popular vote, I had the academic record, so I had the activities, so then I pushed him again. What is your reason for not selecting me? And then he said, your school file, like my school file, there were a number of incidences that you were involved in, where you were given detentions. And because of those reasons, that was why I felt you're not suitable for a head boy. And then I said, well, okay, what incidences? And he's going back to first, second, third year of secondary school, right? I'm now in year 5, right? My final year. He's going back 3 years, and then I said specifically what incidences, and he pulled up some folder, and on there he said that I'd been given detention on 2 occasions in my 3rd year, once in my 2nd year, and maybe like 4 times in my 1st year. And on the notes he said that I'd been involved with fighting. All of those occasions was me getting beaten up by people who felt like, because I was a person of colour, I was an easy target. And then when it got broken up by the teachers, I was punished as well. So I was sent to detention as well. I explained that to the headmaster, and he said, well, I'm just going by what's on the thing. But he did say this one thing. He said, as head boy, you're going to be asked to attend certain events, like governor meetings, and have your pictures in the local paper for like community projects that the school will be involved in. And you, I don't feel would be the right look for the school. And when he said look, so I took that as appearance. So then I challenged him straight away. So because of the colour of my skin, you think it would look better to have a couple of white faces representing the school. Is that what you're saying? And then I lost it. I started berating the headmaster. I said, you're an absolute joke. I'm now in my 5th year, and I've accomplished certain things, and so my confidence was, a lot more than what it was in the first few years of me being in school, and I felt like I had more of a support from the teachers and whatever. So I started berating him. I started shouting at him, calling him out for being a racist. Because that's what I felt it was. It just came down to race. The teachers had called me and, made the vote, and it was a sure thing. It should have been a sure thing. But, headmaster made the final count, and then I was told to leave the headmaster's office, or I was kind of ushered out. But then I was still shouting and screaming in the corridors, and how it is in school corridors. It's very echoey, so my voice was my screams and shouts were heard further away, so people were coming out of classrooms and stuff, and they started coming out, teachers, and telling me to calm down, whatever. And I was saying to the teachers directly, right, I was voted in, right, I had the votes, but he's just said, the headmaster has just said that I'm not a good look for the school. What kind of bullshit is that? And I'm swearing, right? And I don't, especially in front of teachers, you don't swear. But I'm livid. And then the teachers, well, not all the teachers, most of the teachers were trying to stay out. But there was a couple that were let's go into a room, let's discuss it, and let's see what we can do, kind of thing. And one teacher, Mr. Bolton, friggin' awesome teacher, he stood there and said, "Oh, hang on, no, that's not right. If that's what you said, that is not a good look, then that's absolutely not right, and I'm not standing for it." And because he said that, everybody else started cheering. because now, like, I wouldn't say cheering, but the level of support amongst the people that had come out of their classrooms, started to become like unified. You know, because some people were just coming out just to see the drama. Some people didn't have a clue what was going on. But when he said that, because he's like, he's got quite an authoritative voice, this Mr. Bolton, and he spoke loudly and clearly, so people kind of got the idea of what was going on, and it created quite a united front. And the headmaster, who was still standing outside his office trying to tell everyone to go back to their classrooms and whatever, and saying that his decision is final, just went completely quiet and went back into his office. There was a few chants afterwards, and a few conversations between teachers and things, and we was all told to go back to our classrooms. The next day, I was called back to the headmaster's office, and I was told that the decision that was made is final, that it's not going to be changed, and that I'd made the situation much worse because I had created chaos, and this was the exact reason why he felt initially I would not be suited to be head boy for the school. Which is some bullshit. So I never got the head boy status, but I did get the academic cap. And the academic cap is basically on the same board. Whoever gets like the highest grades gets the academic cap. So I got the nerd recognition, which is something, but it sucked. And I think the reason why I'm bringing this story up in regards to this topic of conversation, Pride and Prejudice, I felt, throughout my years at being at school, there was a lot of people using the colour of my skin, the religion that I followed, to be a reason to be prejudiced towards me, to use that as an opportunity to deny me the same opportunities given to others. And to me, that's not okay. I'm actually quite thankful for that experience, because it gave me the courage to fight what I believed in, to stand for injustice. I was 15 at the time, in an environment where I was the minority, and I felt like I was finding my voice. After that announcement, there was a few things that me and a few others, I'm not going to take full credit, but there was a few groups that we established. There was like an anti-bullying campaign, and it was for people who were being bullied for all kinds of reasons. So it could be like, not necessarily because of race or religion, or just kids being kids, and kids being bullied. It happens at all schools, but we did all these like charity drives and things, and I even got on TV a couple of times because of it. So in terms of doing community outreach stuff, I did way more. Me and others did way more than the actual head boy. The actual head boy didn't even turn up to some of these events, and because we were prefects, we had to go to these events as prefects. But then there was the head boy and head girl who would be meant to be in charge of us, but they weren't there. But anyway, so I felt that experience itself made me, because I did feel like I went through a stage where I hated the differences I hated the fact that I was different to other people in terms of the colour of my skin, the religion. I resented it. I would have thoughts where I felt like I wish I wasn't, a person of colour. I wish I was a white dude. Things would be so much easier. I wish I was like, not a Muslim, because then people wouldn't just take the piss out of me because they would see me go to the mosque or, walking to and from the mosque would would get beaten up. And I wished that sometimes I wasn't. If I was a white dude, then maybe I would get to play football. I won't be bullied in the parks. But those experiences, though, the challenges, those, the beat ups, the missed opportunities, or the opportunities that were denied, they weren't missed because I saw them and I went for them, but I was denied them. So they weren't missed opportunities, they were denied opportunities. All of those experiences developed a sense of courage, a sense of resilience, a sense of strength, because enough was enough. I had a younger brother who was a year behind me, and I didn't want him to have to deal with the same kind of issues. And there were more people of colour joining the school as I was progressing through that school myself, and I was seeing what was happening to me, happening to them too. And I felt like I was becoming a person who could influence some kind of change. Long after I left, there was still racism there. I never changed it. People still had deep-rooted racist feelings towards people of colour. But there was, you could feel the wind turning. There was something happening, and it wasn't just me. It was a collective of people, and people, who, close friends of mine who were white. A lot of my friends were white because that's who we were, but they were understanding of the situation and they were in support, and they felt that they could use their voice, their influence to help me, get my voice heard. Anyway, I'm waffling on, but what I feel is a sense of pride. Through that prejudice, through that negative challenges, I do feel a sense of pride that it developed me to be in the character that I am today. After school there was so many more experiences, and maybe we'll talk about those on another video. But this particular experience was, I think, the spring step, to kind of thinking, no, this is not okay, I've got to make a change. And I feel, because I can't personally talk about LGBTQ experiences personally, I do feel that I can speak of experiences that some may have experienced themselves because of who they are, and the challenges that they've had to face, and the opportunities that they've had that they've been denied. But one thing I do love about this month and what it represents is love for all. Love for all. And it is an opportunity to remind ourselves that at the very basic, we are all human. At the very basic level, and because of that, we shouldn't be denying other people's rights to exist because it's something that you're not familiar with or comfortable with. That's not okay. So this is my little contribution to Pride. There are so many, more meaningful topics, and I hope that me talking about my own experiences is not taking anything away from the devastating, challenging hardships that people are facing even today because of who they are and where they stand. You know, it's this love for all, you know, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to keep showing the love, you know, we've got to show the love for all. It's what is going to make you have the best life possible, you know, because there's so much to discover when you open your minds, your hearts to people of all differences, you know, cultures, religions, places. It's just amazing. So, Lavell, yeah. Okay, that's it for me. Remember, show the love. Show the love. Show the love. Be good, be happy, be awesome. Take care. Bye.